Hello, moviegoers, and welcome to another edition of Have You Seen It? I'm your host, Denise, and this week I'm going to review an oldie but goodie. And those of you who have been with me for quite some time know that when I review an oldie but goodie, there is no My Favorite Actor segment and there's no Nailed It segment. I'm just taking a look back at a movie that I really enjoyed and just kind of reviewing it again, because sometimes when you watch a movie more than once, and I often do, you still find things that you missed the first time around. So my movie this week has a theme, and the theme is Memorial Day, because we are on the heels of our Memorial Day holiday. And so the movie that I'm reviewing is Saving Private Ryan. And we know that Saving Private Ryan starred Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, Tom Sizemore, Edward Burns, Barry Pepper, Vin Diesel, Adam Goldberg, Giovanni Ribisi, and Jeremy Davies. Now, these are our central characters in the movie, and we know that Matt Damon's character is Private Ryan, and the other cast members that I mentioned are the troops under Tom Hanks, aka Captain Miller's command. So in this movie, we know that it begins on June 6, 1944. We're in World War II, and following the Normandy landings, on the beaches of Normandy, a group of soldiers go behind enemy lines to retrieve a paratrooper, aka Private Ryan, and send him home because his 3 brothers have been killed in action, and the War Department has said his mother has experienced enough heartache and grief, and we need to find her 4th son and bring him home. The problem is that because he is a paratrooper, we don't know where in this part of Europe he has landed. Okay. And so as the, American troops and their allies, get to Normandy beaches, they're in these big, huge boats, but we know that the enemy is out there. The Germans are out there, but we aren't quite sure where they are. But once we can get on this beach, we can start moving in and taking care of the mission at hand. Well, lo and behold, once the doors, if you will, the huge doors of those boats open, the attack begins. And the enemy has tripwires, they've got grenades, and there's rapid gunfire that just explodes almost immediately, to the point where some of those soldiers never made it out of the boat. And so once they are in the water and on land, they are killed even in the water as they are trying to get to shore. These bullets are piercing the waters, and these soldiers are dying within minutes, within seconds. And so at the end of that particular scene, I'm telling you, that whole scene of the soldiers and the beach, the bodies that were maimed and blown apart and shot up, the waters were bloody. The beach was just filled with dead soldiers or almost dead soldiers. I thought, okay, I've never seen this much blood in a movie, and I've never seen so much graphic, horrific killing as I saw in those first few minutes on that beach. Well, once, Captain Miller's troops are able to now press on and continue the mission that they are sent to do, and they find out that, okay, we've got a directive from, the higher ups that say, we got to find this kid, and you and your troops are going to complete the mission. Well, of course, that doesn't go over well with the members of Captain Miller's, troops. They're like, wait a minute, why are we risking our lives for one person when we're already risking our lives at the hands of the enemy? And now we got to take a detour to find this guy. So, of course, there's a little contention within the group. But as Captain Miller explains, I get it. I understand. But I have a directive and you're going to follow my orders. I want to get home to my family as well. So let's just get this done so we can move on. And so you've got, obviously, the potential loss of life is in their minds constantly because they're trudging through inclement weather. They're trudging through rubble because the towns that they are moving through in order to complete the initial mission, have been destroyed. So you've got buildings that have been bombed. You've got homes that have been destroyed. And so these are the elements that they are faced with as they're looking for our Private Ryan. So just to give you an idea of the troops under Captain Miller's command, I kind of honed in on them this go around because I wanted to just, get a feel for their personalities again. And so you got an interpreter, young kid who hasn't picked up a gun since basic training. He's scared to death when Captain Miller says, you're coming with me. I need someone who speaks French and German. And so he says, hey, I don't do guns. I just do maps and I interpret. And Captain Miller is like, well, you're going to carry a gun, get all your stuff, and you're coming with us. So you've got this scared young kid with them. You've got a medic, a dedicated medic, whose job is to obviously aid those who may be injured along the way or become sick or whatever. But he meets his demise. And when he meets his demise, that's one of the scenes that got to me because of the gravity of his death was just so catastrophic, if you will. And then we've got our sniper. I think Barry Pepper's character as the sniper was one of my favorites because before he took out any enemy, he had his eyes on his target. He said a little Bible verse and bam, that was it. And so he was very, very skilled at what he did. And of course, when he meets his demise, that hurt me because I'm like, we need you. This troop needs your expertise. So you've got, a lot going on with the personalities, but they knew that we are a team and we got to stick together no matter what. And so when we find Private Ryan, about, I'd say 3/4 into the movie, Captain Miller gives him the bad news and tells him, we're here. Your mission is over, buddy. We're taking you home. And he says, no, I'm here to do a mission. And yes, I'm sad and I'm heartbroken. But right now, this mission is what's important. And of course, Captain Miller's troops are like, are you kidding me? We came all this way for you, and now you won't leave. But he becomes part of them. And so it's everybody has to work together at this point. And so when all of the fighting starts, and, at the end when they're at the bridge, and, people are losing their lives and the enemy is coming. You got tanks, you got grenades. They have to use whatever they have left. So Captain Miller's crew is like, this is all we've got. We got to make the best of it. Let's make sure that we are making good use of the ammunition that we have left. And so when he loses his life, I was like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. And so this movie is so powerful because you've got this grief-stricken mother who receives this horrible news as she watches, the special car that comes to her farmhouse. It's got the special military emblem on the side, and the clergy steps out, and she just falls to the floor. That's unimaginable. And that broke my heart when I saw this woman teetering even before she hit the ground, because she knew what the news was about. So just, I thought it was a good idea to just, in honor of those who lost their lives fighting for this country, protecting this country, I thought this was an appropriate film to watch, because you got the ultimate sacrifice. When you sign your name on the dotted line and your number is called to put a gun in your hand and defend this nation, defend your comrades, and defend our allies, that is a sacrifice not many would stand up and say, yeah, I'll do that. So that is my review this week. That is my oldie but goodie, Saving Private Ryan. All right, folks, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button, because it does help keep that channel going and growing. And I am available on BlueSky at HYSI. All right, moviegoers, you know what to do. Until next week, I need you to see a movie, because I'm going to see a movie. Until next week, bye-bye.